Turn to the testimony that Canadians heard from committee last night. How do you explain to the women in the Canadian forces that your defense minister, Harjit Sajjan, still is in the position he's in as defense minister and has not been held accountable for what has played out in the last 3 months?
I think, first of all, that was extraordinarily moving testimony last night from a woman who demonstrated both her strength and her commitment to bringing about change. We know that the Canadian Armed Forces need to change. We know that the culture of tolerance around unacceptable actions or harassment needs to end, not just for those who choose to serve in the Canadian Armed Forces, but in anywhere or any workplace across this country. That's why over the past years we have taken significant steps, but why we also know there is much more to do. I can tell you that we continue to work very hard and closely with various organizations to move forward in the right way, and we will have more to say shortly.
Following up, Marika?
And do you regret keeping General Vance in the position, extending his position and giving him a raise, given what we've heard?
Obviously, looking at this whole situation, we need to make sure that we are creating better support systems and better processes to ensure that there is proper accountability, there is proper transparency, and that anyone who comes forward with allegations or concerns is getting the resources, the process, and the support necessary to be able to actually have those concerns move forward through a responsible and transparent process. Those are things that we are continuing to work on. We know that there's improvements that need to be made.
Thank you. I'll now take questions in the room.
David Akin, Global News. Prime Minister, good morning. I'd like to continue on that topic. Your government has described itself as a feminist government. And many times you might have walked that walk, but on this issue, sexual misconduct in the forces, we're hearing complaints and concerns over and over again from women in the forces that on this front, you're not living up to that moniker. That accountability has to happen here, and it has to happen with the civilian who is supposed to be in charge, and that's Minister Sajjan. And it's inexplicable to many why he has not been asked to step aside.
First of all, we have taken seriously the responsibility of fighting against sexual harassment, sexual assault in institutions and in workplaces across the country from the very beginning when we first took office. We have made significant improvements to processes and systems, including within the armed forces, but we obviously see very clearly there is much more to do. As it is, as we've highlighted a number of times, the Minister of Defense, when he was made aware that there were allegations against Chief Vance, he made sure that there was a proper process to receive those allegations, that it is not the place of a politician to investigate directly, but that those allegations need to be taken seriously and followed up on. And that is the process that was followed. There are, of course, lots of things we need to add to and create better processes for, but that is something we continue to work on.
And just to follow up again in that area, Major Brennan's testimony yesterday introduced perhaps a new disturbing element of this, in that she testified that General Vance thought he was, quote, untouchable, and that he, quote, had the civilian person in charge of the forces, the defense minister, quote, under his control. Do the civilians control the armed forces? And when will you appoint a civilian to be in charge of investigating sexual misconduct, having authority to do so, call witnesses, to put the civilians in charge of the guys and women in uniform?
Obviously, the measures that have been in place and that have been put in place over the past few years to change the culture of the armed forces, to ensure proper support for anyone who chooses to serve and is faced with difficult or impossible situations. We take this extraordinarily seriously. We are working with various partners and looking very much at what more we will do in terms of getting it right, we will be making further announcements in the coming weeks.